Right, let's talk about the Premier League. There's been a sacking. Fulham 3, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0. Fulham
ransacking by Fulham.
Fulham have seen off another manager.
They have.
Yes, they have.
It's like the ownership at Wolves said, we'll put up with a lot, but we are not putting up with Harry Wilson having the freedom of the park all afternoon. He had a lovely time, didn't he?
He did.
I love that left foot of his.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful left foot.
On days like this specifically, rather than the other matches this season.
Brentford scored a lovely one.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is he?
I want to hear more from Peter.
Yeah. Is he the natural heir to Tom Kearney's left foot?
Oh, I thought you were going to say Gareth Bale.
Could Tom Kearney get the little crown off of his big toe and put it onto Harry Wilson's left?
No, Kearney's still there. Kearney came on, much as I was requesting as always.
But Tom Kearney could be like the Queen Mother, couldn't he?
Oh, I like that.
He comes to certain
Pulling the
events or
bonnets.
functions. Yeah, exactly. He goes to functions and events.
Doused in gin.
Very much important part of the of the overall oeuvre of the monarchy, but
no gambling.
Yeah, and he's not a working royal.
Yes.
Come on, there.
Probably shouldn't talk about working royals this week after all that's happened in the last week or so.
There's been another sacking.
No, that's more of a stripping.
Right.
And I appreciate that. It's quite a loaded statement.
Get double meaning.
Yeah. He was up for that.
His work.
Yeah.
Up for that.
The stripping I hit, yes.
Good news,
Very
Andrew.
much up for it.
Good news,
No,
Andrew.
not that.
Not that, right.
Good news, Andrew. We've got a stripping on the way. All right.
Fine.
Let me just go wash up.
What do you want to be known as? Oh, one of those ones.
Yeah.
No, you just, oh dear. If you, no, I've already done that. Fulham 3, Wolves 0. Yes, where were we? Vitor Pereira, he's been sacked.
Yeah.
He has
Sunday
this.
morning.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, I mean,
he sounded so defeated after the game.
Yeah.
And then he said,
first the P45 and then the pints.
if that
he
man...
said, it sounds funny, but I just can't stand the pain.
Boy, I'm leaving here tomorrow.
He should
Perfect.
Surely.
That's a perfect post-match.
Yeah.
I'm getting sacked in the morning.
Imagine
I'm
he did
leaving
that,
here
Marcus.
tomorrow.
Marcus, don't say what you're about to say.
I'm not gonna.
Spend some time
If he
thinking about
serenaded
Join the
Wolves fans,
Commodores, yeah.
if anyone was going to do that, it could have been him.
Doubtful.
Yeah.
You saw the way it was at the end of the last game.
No.
He's hanging a minute. I got a 3-year deal last month. What's going on?
Read the small print.
Yeah.
It's not even that small. He's failed to win any of their 10 games this season, and that's why he's easy like a Sunday or a Monday morning.
Yeah.
He should. I mean, if you're Vitor Pereira, you'd have just stayed in London, wouldn't you?
What do you mean? What, for any other
You knew
London
what was going
postings?
No, just have a
Wait
nice
for the West Ham
weekend.
job.
Have a nice weekend in the capital. Yeah, have a nice weekend in the capital.
I think so.
Yeah.
That's
what I
probably
mean?
fair enough.
The equivalent of we really respect a footballer who quite clearly is about to be shown a straight red and walks before the red. That's Vitor Pereira. Don't get back on a bus. Just stay in London and go.
Enjoy the M&M Museum. Whatever it's called. The M&M shop.
It's been a pleasure working with you. I'll clear out my desk on Monday, but I'm as you say, I'm off to M&M World right now.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just a bit distracted. Is it a museum?
It's a museum to the general
dedicated
M&M
to the,
products. It's a gift shop and
What's
museum.
that over there? It's the first ever M&M.
Yeah. It would look exactly the same as all
Can
the
you
other
get one of
M&Ms.
those talking maps in your ear? Bill Bryson does it, does he?
Oh, lovely.
How does Bill Bryson talk?
He's an Aussie, but he's lived here for a while.
No, he's American.
Oh, he's American.
He's
He's lived here for a while.
He's from the Midwest, isn't he?
Well, can you do an impression of him talking about how sexy the green M&M is?
Not really, no.
I love a green M&M, mate.
She got lovely hats.
That was like having him in the room. That was unbelievable.
Lovely thigh-high boots on. I would very much like to kiss the green M&M. Yeah.
Oh, say I'm Bill Bryson, sir. Anyway, why we? Wolves. Yeah.
Welcome to M&M World.
There you go, Gary. There you go, Gary O'Neill. There's your intro to your new posting.
That's a lovely little curveball.
That's a lovely little curveball.
Did you see? I didn't see this. Roy the Boy Hodgson was at the game, and I thought,
Yeah.
I thought
He'd
he's not.
fancy it, wouldn't he?
He was
78 years old. No way.
That's only half the story as well.
Go on.
He was sat next to him in shorts.
Oh, of course, Big
Big
Ray.
Ray.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was unwrapping in Werther's.
Yeah,
Big Ray.
I love that.
Roy Hodgson's old enough to have the Werther's now.
Yeah.
he's been old enough for a while.
You get
I
a
think
little
it's
bus pass.
70 plus. I think it's 70 plus.
Are you going to say 65? I reckon.
65.
Werther's
What,
originals.
retirement?
Retirement age.
67.
There we are.
Yeah.
Sorted it.
Yeah.
Anyway, Wolves are managerless right now. I tell you what, though, we will. Don't worry, Luke. We'll get onto this in a minute. He was sacked on the Sunday. Will still lose his job. So he's been leaked. I tell you what, that's like decades ago. You know when people would leave school on the Friday,
Yeah.
at like
Down the
8
pit on
or
the
whatever.
Monday.
And you're on Monday, you're in work. I was
Yeah.
like, imagine that. Sacked on the Sunday, walks into the job on the Monday.
Yeah.
That'd have been sensational.
Having been fired from the division below for being terrible as well. But the thing is, what they say about Will Still, if we get Will Still, he knows the championship. Not really.
Well, he knows it more
Not
now.
really. Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad that Vitor Pereira had a stint in the Premier League.
Same.
Because he really wanted it. He's done his doggies.
Not as many
elsewhere.
fights as we were hoping for.
No.
Nearly last week. Do you know what, though? All joking aside, he really was defeated. And he had a really sad quote. I think this was after the Burnley game when he said, when I go home, I'm so sad. I won't talk to my wife because
Yeah.
I'm so sad. And it was like, oh.
No. Well, I mean,
bit of pep about it. The only way he is like pep.
Yeah,
a bit
true.
Of pep about
But
it,
you
yeah.
saw how far he was after the game. The home game against Burnley,
Yeah.
where they lost, injury time winner from Burnley.
Yeah.
And I think he's trying to fight the good fight. And I just got the impression here, when he said it was just all wrong, it was a terrible performance. He even went tactically, it was all over the place. That was a man who was defeated, he knew.
Yeah.
And I think maybe that was the moment where he truly kind of realised the absolute state of things at Wolverhampton Wanderers
Yeah.
at
Well,
the
I
moment.
mean,
It's a slow decline. It's a slow
Well,
decline.
and when I say that, as in, I think that if you're, I would imagine if you're a manager, as he showed when he came in, was it last December? You come and you go, I can improve this. I can get a tune, and he did, and they survived, and they did
won
all
about
right.
6 games in a row in April, didn't they?
Yeah, they
Around
tailed
that
off
time.
after April. I think they haven't won a game in the Prem for a while.
But he did enough.
Yeah,
to-
but he showed that he could improve things, and he's thinking, right, let's get a decent summer in. Summer was dreadful for them.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You sell your best player. I mean, okay, they kept hold of Strand Larson, but come on.
But he was given the purse strings, and this is what's happened. Really.
No, you
Like,
can't say that, Pete.
He was.
They've sold
some
their best
managers have
players.
to, yeah, fine, but they were always going to move from a position of where Wolves are. They're always going to move, weren't they? Strand Larson nearly made it out the door. They've got enough up top to be better than they were.
Possibly.
He got a lot of players in on his own design. And from what I can tell, like he had control of the transfers, and this is what some managers have to be saying for themselves. That's what I'm saying.
A lot of the Wolves fans will say that it is all to do with the ownership here, the Fossen or Fosun group. The chairman Jeff Shi has to take a lot of the blame for this because they've sold a lot, they've not refreshed or brought anybody in of the kind of caliber they need. It's, as you say, Luke, it's been a slow decline.
Yeah. Well, you lose Mateus Cunha.
Yeah.
Ryan Out-Nouri and Nelson Semedo went at the end of his contract. If you're gonna fall down between the two stools between you guys, you'd say maybe the players they've brought in haven't showed perhaps what they're capable of yet, or they certainly haven't been at the level that those other players were at. And everyone can take some of the blame here. You look at. I think there's a grain of truth in what Pete's saying, chiefly because of the on-pitch stuff.
Yeah, of course. Pereira, fine. Yeah.
Pereira made more changes than any other manager in the league this season. It's something like 31 changes in 10 games. Like he was scrapping around big time for ideas.
Yes.
That Burnley result was a heartbreaker, but against Fulham, they just looked absolutely abject. And obviously that ridiculous sending off doesn't help either. I mean, it's just so clumsy. It's ridiculous, really. And no team has survived in the Premier League after such a bad start. So the writing was on the wall, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But I think all these things in the mix can be the case. It's definitely the case that the fans believe that it's a slow decline. There's not been the investment in kind of all areas of the club, and they need someone better than Jeff Shi at the top of the club who can run it more coherently. But I
think that's a kind way of putting it. I think the overwhelming feeling I'm getting from the Wolves fans, you see it, is they are thoroughly pissed off with the ownership and the chairman, Jeff Shi.
Yeah, there was a guy. Yeah, I've just said that. I've just said they should give someone better than Jeff Shi to come in and run the club better.
But to say,
but there was a Wolves fan on Sky Sports News over the weekend who was absolutely scathing in his assessment of what's going on there, and he would know much better than me. The bad thing. Well, the even worse thing, I suppose, is who they can get in to take the job on.
Well, I mean, people are linking Brendan Rodgers as if.
Yeah, I thought
as if he's going to go there.
What if you were
Eric Ten Hag's in? Well, to be fair,
do you know what they should have done? Possibly, maybe this is a terrible shout, and Wolves fans can tell me if it is. But I kind of felt like if they were going to do this, if they were going to give Pereira the bullet anyway, should have done it when Nuno was available.
Well,
they love Nuno down there.
No, I mean,
And he might have had a bit of sentimentality about it. He might have gone, okay, I'd love to save him. I'd love to save him.
well, maybe they did sound him out. You don't know. Although I wouldn't put it past this ownership to kind of go, oh, I didn't think of that. But I mean, I think that it has been a slow decline. I mean, you mentioned, or perhaps Gary O'Neill's name was mentioned a minute ago.
But he got binned off them before.
But indeed, but we were all worried that summer where they didn't recruit really, or the recruitment wasn't great, and then he managed to do okay, and then it goes south, and then he gets binned off, and then obviously Pereira comes in, and that just seems to be with Wolves in these last few seasons, or however long it's been. It's just we'll just do it now. We'll just keep our heads bobbing above water. And you think, what are you doing this for? This ownership group? Are you doing this? Is this a little play thing? Are you stripping the club of assets? What is going on here? Because you're clearly not looking after that team.
The players they've signed as well are basically a who's who of just players that are trivia questions.
But they're just throwing enough muck at the wall and seeing what sticks. And you would imagine, Wolves have established themselves in recent times as a Premier League side, and for a club, obviously, rich history, Wolverhampton Wanderers, very storied club. But in the sort of 21st century, they weren't the first, certainly at the turn of the century, they weren't the first team you thought of. They were always the kind of underachiever. How come they've never got promoted? And blah, blah.
Sleeping Giant and all that.
Yeah, exactly. But they're also
They came up with Pompey in 2003.
Yeah, and then they went.
Yeah.
But I'm saying for a size of that club, there's a lot of clubs that kind of size, with that kind of tradition and all, which can sometimes spend a bit of time in the Championship, as they know, even drop down to League One or worse. And so to establish yourself as a Premier League club, that's a very, very impressive thing.
Very easy over the last 4 or 5 seasons, though, because the way that Championship teams have conducted their business as they're coming up.
The last 2 seasons in particular, yes, they were helped by that, as a number of sides were. But it's just so frustrating to see that just slowly fade away and little being done at the top of the club. Whoever takes that job, I don't think necessarily they're on a hiding to nothing. I don't think it's like trying to find someone to take the Southampton job when Juric took it, when you just thought, well, any experience will do kind of thing. Yeah. I think there is enough time in the season to maybe turn this around, but my goodness, this is like trying to turn around a flipping ocean liner in a little harbour. It's immensely difficult.
It is a sad story as well, because obviously when they came up, they were excellent.
Yeah.
Under Nuno. They came 7th in their first season.
Yeah.
And some of the players that have come through there, Raul Jimenez, Pedro Neto, Daniel Podence, Mateus Cunha, they had a really good thing going, right? And it has been a kind of decline of the last couple of years. I think, Pete, you're spot on to say the last 2 years, they found it kind of easy enough because the other teams that have come up have been so poor. But let's not forget, they finished, I've got the list of their finishes in front of me here, 7th, 13th, 10th, 13th, 14th and then 16th last season. So they're on the decline because of the reason that you've already stated. But they have been a bit of a... they've given us some really interesting moments, some good times. That first season happened in the Premier League, which of course the COVID season, so it's tricky, but to kind of remember it that well. But they were really good.
Well, you think about 2 of the Fulham players that played against them, Adama Traore and Raul Jimenez. We first saw them really in the Premier League there, and they must have been thinking, "Blimey, lads, I do feel sorry for you." I mean, at the end of the game,
Jimenez was absolutely superb in that first season.
Yeah, but at the end of the game, Jimenez went over and gave him a little clap. Hardly any of the Wolves players went over. I think just tails between the legs. A couple of them did because the fans were fierce.
Because the week before they almost had a bust up.
Well, indeed, yeah, they probably thought, well, maybe we're best off just skipping off to the
not going near that lot.
I mean, I get it.
They'll shout at me in a car. Well, let's see in the car park, won't they? So,
but a couple of them went over, and their fans actually applauded them and kind of appreciated that. But they were poor. I mean, when Fulham were a goal up and then 10, and then Wolves went down to 10, I remember thinking, lads, if you don't get 3 points today,
this is a 1-1. This ends up a last minute 1-1. Yeah.
Then I will say, Marcus Silva, thank you very much for your service to the club, but you deserve better than this, and we'll go to the Championship now. And unfortunately, it did sort of open up enough for Harry Wilson to curl in a lovely one. But I mean, this is the thing with Wolves at the moment. When Fulham, I sort of joked and said, I remember when Wolves came and battered Fulham 4-1 last season at the Cottage. Well, Mateus Cunha scores 2 worldies that day because he can.
Big difference.
They had nothing really.
Yeah.
To the point of, I remember thinking, I tell you what, in the January transfer market, if any team needs a striker, and I'd say Fulham, unless Muniz comes back and he can really do something, have a go with Strand Larsen, really test, because we know he's a player.
Newcastle was nearly there.
Indeed, in the summer.
Him in,
I mean, that would have. I remember at the time thinking, if he goes, then they're definitely relegated Wolves,
right?
Because where are the goals going to come from, really? But I mean, down to 10 minutes obviously doesn't help, but I just never fancied Wolves really. But I think you hinted at this earlier, Peter. There are some players in there. There's a squad of players who, if they are, again, if somebody can come in and Gavin, if you're talking Big Sam and his pomp or something like that, can he do it? But I think the feeling at that club is so low at the moment. It is an immensely difficult challenge to come in. The points tally speaks for itself. But the feel, this is not a newly promoted side who are just kind of, come on, we're all banding together. We need someone to give us a bit of direction. This is rotten.
It might well be that O'Neill comes in because, with respect to him, you know how much I do respect him.
Yeah.
No one else wants it.
Well, you'll always get somebody, as Southampton found with Urich, who there will always be somebody who fancies, I'll have a go.
He an empty suit, wasn't he? He basically was an empty suit. I don't think that's a great example.
This feels like cheap British Championship manager they're going to be brought in, not the video game.
Well, I mean, right. I mean, I do agree. I think that any manager who is got a little bit of ambition, I don't think you would take that job. But after 10 games, 8 points from safety, it's a big ask, as you've already mentioned. No team with this kind of record has ever survived.
I think only Sheffield United and that catastrophic season has a worse start than them.
Yeah, but there is time. I think if this was 2 months on and you in a similar situation, then you'd be like, well, that's you're going to have to get.
Oh, sure, yeah. There's a lot of points left to play for. Absolutely.
But I did, some of the names that were being linked already, I just thought, no way.
Yeah.
Why would Rodgers go?
Brother Brendy's not leaving the monastery for that.
No, certainly,
no way.
Certainly not.
No.
You can see the effect. I mean, his Celtic side beat Rangers 3-1 in the cup.
It's the ripple effect, isn't it?
Does he get a medal if they win?
He should do.
Martin O'Neill's going to get a medal.
Martin O'Neill has disrespected the competition. That's not absolutely clear.
I don't even know when the final is, he said after the game.
Not than any of us.
Yeah.
It's really confusing to do a semi-final in November.
He admittedly...
We're still getting used to that.
He admitted he'd secretly love... You can't admit something secretly.
Yeah.
He'd love to still be in charge for the final.
Yeah.
I think he'd get his wish. I think it's next month.
The final's probably on fucking Wednesday.
So
he also said, I was 73 years old on Monday. I feel 94 now, is what he said. Because it was extra time, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, that's what Roger said. Managing a Premier League side would be like going on holiday compared to Celtic.
Martin
O'Neill kind of backing it up, or am I twisting his words there? I don't know.
Also, it's great. It's been a great period for manager quotes in Scotland, because it's worth remembering that Brendan Rodgers said he was, I think he said, I'm more motivated than I ever was before to turn this around at Celtic, and then resigned under a day later.
Yeah. Shows you how
What happened overnight?
Well, the motivation slipped away.
Yeah.
Somebody sucked it out of him. Well, gentlemen, bad times for Wolves. Well done to Fulham, though, for making the most of an easy situation.
They need to turn it around.
A lovely opening goal from a academy guy.
Beautiful boy.
A beautiful left-footed strike from, a bit of a heartthrob. And then a comedy own goal.
Yeah.
It's everything you need. Everything you need for a lovely Saturday afternoon.
Yeah.
I mean, Fulham really needed that.
Treat yourself to a little Vicky Sponge on the way home.
Now you're talking.
Hey.
See, I was a bit annoyed at the start of the season when West Ham were diabolical, and I was thinking, when have Fulham got them? There's 3 points. Not till December. They'll have sorted it out by then. But this one is exactly what they needed.
Yeah.
A home tie against
A
the piss poor.
salve.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And they're only 1 point behind Newcastle United now.
That'll happen.
More on them later. Now, gentlemen, just quickly, I couldn't help but notice that a Premier League manager who goes by the name of Fabian Hürzeler was linking Danny Welbeck to the England squad on the weekend.
I mean,
Yeah.
is it
Talk to
legitimate?
me. Talk to me.
Is it legitimate? So how much of this is you just saying this because, this is your trope that you do, that all the
Fabian
all
Hürzeler
the
said it, mate.
Speller fanboys love? But how and so that's why you're doing it. But how much of it, what percentage of it is actually he scored 6 goals and 7 starts in the Premier League this season? He'll be 35 by the time the World Cup comes around, but is he there for a lovely bit of experience, and would he actually do something?
Yeah.
Because if he carries on at this scoring rate,
Yes.
he could be legitimately the second highest scorer in the Premier League this season, and therefore the top scoring Englishman.
So history would say that's probably unlikely.
It is unlikely. It is unlikely.
It was if
He'll get an injury.
If you live through this time, you'd be like, I mean, that is a preposterous proposition to get him in the English squad. But from 10 years, 20 years from now, if you look at his goal record, why didn't he got the World Cup? Well, because you weren't there. You just weren't there.
But he's the top scoring Englishman in the Premier League at the moment anyway.
Yeah.
He's the only Englishman in the top 10 top scorers in the Premier League this season.
I think, okay.
Let's have Jacob Murphy if we're bringing in people who are performing at the highest level.
Yeah, not much competition on the right wing, is there, for England?
For perspective, Erling Haaland has scored over double the next highest scorer.
Yeah, and he was eligible for England.
Yeah, that's annoying.
That is
That is
annoying.
annoying.
I mean,
That is annoying.
Kane behind him.
That is unbelievable. To think that, because he was born in England, wasn't he, Harley?
Yeah.
He was born in Manchester, was he? I think he might have been.
Oh, definitely.
Was it Leeds?
Leeds, might have been Leeds.
Yeah.
I think it was Leeds. Yeah, you're right. I think it was Leeds.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, but I mean, it was never going to. In the same way with Kasper Schmeichel, obviously a bit different. He was born here, I think. But anyway, bollocks aside, Danny Welbeck for England. Yeah, so I think it's one of those things that it's kind of he hasn't been in the England squad for a long time. Very experienced, of course, at international level. He has been to definitely one World Cup, maybe.
So he knows how to get on a plane.
Yeah, he's been to a couple of World Cups.
I think he's not very experienced. He's got about 40 caps, hasn't he?
Yeah, but he's been to tournaments.
Sure. Fair.
Yeah, so he's got the experience. That's in the bag. Okay.
Yeah, but my take on it was just that he, for Hertzler's saying that just to kind of boost the confidence and keep him ticking along. I don't think it's Hertzler doesn't give a shit either way.
Yes. Well, I mean, if anything, he probably would prefer it not to happen because you less likely of injury and keep your man fresh. I think though, with the Welbeck chat, I think that quite clearly, I think Watkins, who's been used a little bit by Thomas Tuchel, and he himself has got a fairly recent standout moment in an England shirt at a tournament, with a goal in the semi-final. I think you'd be surprised if Watkins is not the man.
Even though Watkins has had a pretty abject start to the season.
Yeah, so I think maybe this is a little bit knee-jerky, but as you say, Luke, if it continues, then maybe there's some chat to be had there. However, Tuchel, the way he's been picking squads recently, and again, we've got very little to go on, but that's what we are going on. The next international break is not that far away, and then it's a bit of a gap until, is it February or March, maybe?
Yeah, I think it's March.
Yeah. It would be a surprise for me
He's
if
a
Welbeck gets in there.
26% striker for Brighton. 26%. Just reminding everyone.
1 in 4.
1 in 4.
But he's got 6 and 7 starts this season, Peter.
Well, yeah, fine.
There you go.
Fine, yeah.
Better scoring record for England. But it was a bit of a while.
Just about.
It would be very surprising if he was called up, but
Yeah.
by Jove, I'd love it. Coming up after this, Spurs are still struggling at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
Do you know what a maverick is? What's your anticipation? What would you say it was?
I actually couldn't I know it's a good thing, but I don't actually know what the word actually...
Well, everyone says different things about it, but I would say unconventional. I would say flair. I wouldn't say reliable. That's a negative side.
Welcome back to the Football Ramble. Welcome back to the Football Ramble, everybody. Sorry, just hearing those two chat, it confused me.
It's got to be the most brain-dead conversation I've ever heard.
Tim Sherwood explaining to Jack Grealish what a maverick is.
Imagine having something explained to you by Tim Sherwood. That's a low. That is a low point, that.
Thanks to friend of the Ramble, Pie, for sending us that clip on Discord, by the way.
Did he even explain it? He just sort of said,
I think he
means
did.
different things, doesn't it?
Yeah,
it just
kind
means
of.
different things.
Kind of
I think he
It
did
just means
okay.
different things, doesn't it?
Yeah.
All words do mean different things, don't they?
You can become a friend of the Ramble too. That does mean what it suggests. Search patreon.com/Football Ramble or click that join button on YouTube to get involved.
Yes.
Right then, Tottenham Hotspur 0 to Chelsea 1. How
Yeah.
about that? Luke Moore, you were our man at the match there.
I was there, yeah, I saw it, yeah.
Tottenham currently 5th in the Premier League. The Premier League table is telling a big old fib, is it not?
Yeah, I don't think they're the 5th best team in the Premier League.
Yes.
Based on what I saw on Saturday tea time, definitely not.
They were booed off, and how Chelsea only got the one goal is surprising, but it was a poor performance for Spurs.
It was so poor. I think it's as bad as I've seen them play in person. I've been to that stadium 15 times probably. Seen them play a few times before that as well. I can't remember a worse performance than that. To put it in perspective, we've done quite a lot at the start of this show about how bad Wolves were against Fulham. Wolves got 5 times the XG that Spurs got against Chelsea. That's how bad it was. It was astonishingly bad. Chelsea should have scored probably 4 or 5. Honestly, I mean,
they should.
a couple of the chances they missed were laughably bad,
especially at the end.
Yeah, and the thing about that was what I came away from those kind of Chelsea chances thinking was that like Chelsea are so relaxed here and so kind of not unprofessional, but like just don't have to be doing this. They're not concentrating.
No, Gittin should have scored at the
Oh,
dead.
that was an absolutely ridiculous miss. Like Pedro had a couple of. To be fair to Vicario, he made some good saves.
Yeah.
I think one or two of them were genuinely good saves. But the thing that I think probably forced the atmosphere to be so poor among Spurs fans, which I totally understand, was that for the last 20 minutes or so, Spurs were honestly playing like they were 3 or 4 down, like the game was gone.
Yeah.
But they were 1-0 down at home to a rival. who obviously really wanted to win. They didn't chase the game at all. They have got no ball carrier. They've got absolutely no kind of guile. And I'm not.
Kudus can sometimes get them up.
They just doubled up on him,
yeah,
and that was it. No one else could do anything.
Yeah.
And I'm not even the biggest fan of James Maddison's, but my God, they miss Maddison because say what you like about Maddison, inconsistent, probably a little bit overrated in my view, injury prone. Yeah, loves the darts absolutely, but he at least always wants the ball.
He's positive
on the half turn.
Yeah.
He'll get in the gaps. He'll try and make something happen. And there it looks like they're relying on Xavi Simons to do that at the moment. He is miles off it, like miles and miles.
He's been sucked into the sort of the Spurs disease or whatever, or the hangover from Ange or whatever you want to call it.
He just looks so tentative.
Well, you saw it for the goal.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, case in point. I mean, how many times did they have to be able to clear it? I mean, that was a Chelsea.
3.
I mean, Chelsea. I don't think up and I don't know if it was. It seemed to me that up until that moment, Chelsea were pressing them. They were doing well. For the goal, they thought, bloody hell, is this all we've got to do? Which is why I couldn't believe they only scored the one goal.
They should have scored loads more, honestly.
But you're right. I think Spurs also missed Solanke a bit in terms of his industry up there.
Yeah.
In terms of sort of pressing. I've heard that from a few Spurs fans, actually.
But you know what, though, Marcus? Like, Rando Colomwani, who, is clearly a player of some great pedigree, you change the centre forward for, take your pick. You change it, get Harry Kane back. Or whatever. I mean, Harry Kane's probably a poor example because he drops a lot deeper and does stuff. But if you're going to be a front person that's going to occupy the centre backs, I mean, Colomwani must have had probably 4 touches. He must have gone up to him maybe 3 or 4 times.
Yeah,
that's really it. He couldn't really do anything, and so overall, it was a really, really bad day at the office. And I think you alluded to it at the start of this chat. They're in a really false position in the league. They've played some pretty easy teams. They've got 4 points from 15 at home this season. They've had one noticeable result all season, really, which is the Man City win. Obviously, they won at Everton as well, which is pretty good. But Everton were abject that day, really, really bad. So it was poor. It was genuinely very, very poor. Not really much else to say other than just you couldn't believe how bad they were.
there was a moment at the end of the game in injury time. 1-0 down, things to play for.
Yeah,
there was a free kick, sort of centre circle, centre line, and they just played it backwards.
Yeah,
and obviously the Spurs supporters were absolutely apoplectic.
Yeah.
But it's just
man.
what he's doing.
The atmosphere.
I think summed it up, Pete. That moment in the game.
That's what I'm saying. You're absolutely spot on, Pete. And just going back to what I said earlier, it was because they were behaving like they were 3 or 4 down. The game was gone. They just didn't want to get injured or didn't want to risk anything.
Yeah,
it was completely unimaginable.
They
weird.
were like that against Newcastle for a fair whack of the match. They looked really listless at this moment in time.
And I just add in there because Spurs fans might be screaming this at their phone. Listen to this. They've got injuries, right? They've got, with the Bergvall injury, which did unsettle them a bit.
It's the worst one in the Premier League.
Sure.
Oh,
it is. And the Bergvall injury, he goes off with a head injury after a couple of minutes, right? And Bergvall is someone who likes to get on the ball and likes to do things. So maybe that's hurt them and that's unsettled them. But at the same time, Bergvall's like a teenager, right? They've spent a lot of money, Spurs. They've got a lot of resources. They're a big club, and he went off after a few minutes, which meant Simmons had to come on. That'd be their 11th injury, I think. They've got 11 injuries to first team players. And so you give them a bit of sympathy for that. But part of me just thinks, when was the last time I didn't have a million injuries? What's going on there?
Yeah.
We blamed Ange Postecoglou for it. Postecoglou's not been at the club for months.
Yeah.
Frank's come in. People like him. He seems a very nice man. He's clearly got a great reputation.
Great hair.
Lovely hair.
Lovely hair.
But what is happening at that club to have so many injuries all the time? Tell me the last time I didn't have loads and loads of injuries. You can't remember.
I mean, that's to be said. If you remember with Arsenal under Wenger, there was this spell, isn't it?
There's something going on there. It's weird.
It is strange.
The NFL pitch.
Could be, Peter. maybe they are training NFLs.
But it's so like, there was a brilliant bit actually when Chelsea scored. And at the time, you're thinking this is going to be the first of many, which it wasn't.
You loved that bit, did you?
But it's funny because when they scored, the dynamic advertising hoardings around the pitch, which are always changing,
yes,
they were talking about some kind of I can't exactly remember what it was, but some kind of old kit or something that was for sale. Yeah. And it just came up, flashed up behind João Pedro, classic Tottenham.
Oh, no.
No, I wish I could find a screenshot of it, but I couldn't.
Somebody will have done
Someone's got that.
But,
someone's got that from
but
somewhere.
It was really, really bad.
But do you feel that is Frank, I mean, when Brentford, his Brentford side would go away from home, they would get some notable results, but they were ultimately obviously a mid-table Premier League side, which was an incredible achievement with the resources.
Very good
inside the club.
forward as well.
Yeah, exactly. They always good players up top.
They seem to always play with pace, don't they? Because of that, Pete.
Yeah.
Well, which don't do it at Spurs.
Well, which is so. Because when he goes to Spurs, we've seen this with managers before who have limited experience with certain clubs who play in a certain way out of maybe necessity more than anything else. To try and then go, right, Tottenham, we need to be more expansive, we need to be more possession-based, all that kind of stuff. Frank's still learning. I assumed that where he would hit the ground running at Spurs and it would be good. And I think for a time, look, they've done okay. It's been an improvement from last season. But I mean, last season, blimey, especially in the Premier League, it couldn't have been that much worse. So I think with Frank, I just think that he's still getting his feet under the desk here. And he's trying to figure out, like, how do Spurs take on Chelsea at home, for example? How do they go about that? Well, clearly what they did wasn't correct. It wasn't good. So, but do they sort of play on the break? Well, at home you need to do a little bit more. Now, his Brentford sides would sometimes play very direct and they'd go at teams. But is he caught in the whole kind of, the Spurs way of doing things? And,
but I just don't think it was tactical. I don't think
you think this is players?
I just think they haven't got any ball carriers. The technical floor of the team seemed really, really
So you
low.
wouldn't say this is to do with Frank much?
Look, it's obviously to do with him in a way because he's the manager. But it felt to me like, I mean, even it goes back to the whole Graham Souness thing, which I kind of hate saying because then people think I'm a massive dinosaur as well. But like Graham Souness would make the point, which I think is a good one.
Do the basics.
You've got to be. It's the Premier League. You've got to be pacey. You've got to be on it. You've got to play a bit of tempo. You've got to win. You've got to try and win the ball. You've got to pass it quick.
Intensity.
Yeah, intensity. There's none of that there.
Yeah.
None of that
Which
there
is
at all.
surprising because that's what I thought Frank would.
But because if you said, so say like you said, right, we're going to humble ourselves, right? Chelsea are a good team on their day. They've got a lot of weapons. They've got a lot of players they can bring off the bench.
Yeah.
They are a great cup team, for example. So on their day they can be good.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to swallow our pride. We're going to be humble. The fans aren't going to like it for the first half an hour or whatever. But we're going to sit in and we're going to hit them hard on the break. They just can't do it.
Yeah.
They can't do it. They've got no application of playing with any kind of tempo. Simmons, for example, who was their big signing, he's an incredible player.
Because they had a great window as well.
He turned down Chelsea, Simmons, or Chelsea turned down him, or whatever.
Yeah.
It didn't happen for whatever reason, but Chelsea certainly were interested in him. He looked like a really, really bad Jack Grealish the first day back after injury. Like every extra touch, turn back inside, get caught in possession, not be able to pass it. Honestly, mate, I'm running out of ways here. We should probably move on. I'm running out of ways just saying how shit they were because they were absolutely shit.
So I wonder if actually with Spurs, with some bigger games coming up, notably, well, in a few weeks' time, as I say, Arsenal and then PSG. I wonder if this run of results and then maybe that performance against Chelsea is going to give them a bit of a firework up the arse, because one thing we were saying at the start of the season was they look much more robust than they did last year. They look a little bit more maybe pragmatic.
On another day, Fernandes could have gone and
yeah, that was a bad one.
That was close, wasn't it? Yeah.
And I think that could have been a situation where they could have got something out of the game, but they, like you said, they just looked too listless, didn't they?
I think they've drifted in the last few weeks.
But the footage of Frank being ignored by Jed Spence and Mickey van der Ven, I don't usually sort of jump on this sort of thing. At the end of the game, Jed Spence and Mickey van der Ven are sort of walking off the pitch and they just ignore a little high five from Thomas Frank, and it is unbelievable that they didn't see the high five. It is unbelievable they didn't see.
You a man who's been left hanging quite a lot, so you feel
massively.
it
it
keenly.
hurts. Yeah, it's yeah.
Did you want to run on the pitch and go, "Hey, Frank"?
Well, I felt really sorry for him, and it's kind of like. It was. I'm not usually sort of get upset about that sort of thing, but I did.
Are you upset?
I'm a little bit upset by
Bloody
it.
hell!
I think
we found something that's sacred to Pete.
I do think Spence and Van der Ven, the Spence and De Ben need to go on social media and go. Sorry about that. Because it was that bad. It was that bad.
Oh,
apologise,
Alan Shearer
Jed and Mickey.
Alan Shearer didn't think it was that big a deal.
Well,
I can understand why the optics are bad, but I mean ultimately. I mean, I don't think it's the worst thing that's ever happened.
I think it's the worst thing that's ever happened.
Was it worse than Enzo Maresca being caught scratching his testes?
That was a lovely one.
That was in the pocket, wasn't it?
It was in the pocket. It was
So I think that's, if
it
it's
almost looked quite cartoonish.
If it's in the pocket, I think
Yeah,
it's nice
just
for him
throw it out. There's no need.
There was no sniff.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
I think that's fine. He's trying to respect.
It's the only way a ball man can brush his hair.
I think he's trying to respect the TV audience. Just if it needs a scratch,
it was a 5 or 6 second period of play. He's got his hands in his pockets.
Doesn't help that he's wearing a light tracksuit.
He was dressed appallingly. Anyway, and then he's got his hands in his pockets. He just has a little, probably middle finger scratch with the right nut or the left nut because it was reversed angle. Left nut. And then he gets on with it. I don't think it was that bad.
If you're wearing, he's wearing wank pants.
He was wearing wank pants. That's what I'm saying.
Absolutely fine. It's what they're for.
Yeah.
There's your analysis on that.
Yeah.
Pedro Neto had a little wind up as well.
Yeah, some of the Spurs fans who were giving him some, and he turned around and Gene Simmons-esque tongue out, waggling it side to side.
Which on the Ramble we don't mind because fans give players shit all the time.
Yeah. Absolutely fine.
I think it's a disgrace. I think he should apologise.
He should have high-fived Thomas Frank with his tongue.
No, he should have high-fived those who were no doubt sending him incredibly vicious and aggressive insults.
Frank should condemn.
I think they were probably saying, "Well played, Pedro.
Yeah.
Chelsea have been better than us today.
Yeah, let's see your tongue.
Enough respect. Yeah. Do you mind sticking your tongue out? Out of respect to Ace Frehley, who passed away recently."
Yeah, all right. Yeah. Right, let's move on to West Ham United 3, Newcastle United 1. The Alan Pardew derby ended. The Nobby Soblano derby ended with
Callum Wilson.
There's another one with 3 points.
Yeah,
to West Ham United, their first home win in the league since February. We're in November, people.
It's just funny. It's because they had a sit-in protest plan for after the match.
There was a brilliant bit when
February.
Paquetá scores the first goal, and the camera angle's got a bloke just behind him saying, "Sold our souls."
That is annoying.
Celebrating the goal.
That is annoying. That is quite unhelpful.
It's a great angle.
Yeah.
It's perfect. It couldn't have been better.
But I like that though. I respect that from the fan. He's like, yeah, fine, we can score. We can even win today. But he's right. They sold their soul.
One of the best passages of play all season when Bowen wraps one off the post.
Yes.
And they go up the other end and just score.
Yeah.
And you can see it cuts to Nuno. The camera cuts to Nuno.
He's like,
and he's like, what?
Yeah.
What?
Bowen was like, oh, it's happening again.
Yeah.
And Andy from our podcast VGC had a ticket for this, and he offered it to me, but I couldn't take it. And he said it obviously would be in the home fans as long as you can behave yourself. And I was like, I wouldn't have had much to shout about in this match.
No, you wouldn't have.
Are you a Geordie? Are you a Geordie? Newcastle were abject. It was more about Newcastle's away form than any green shoots from a low block West Ham, I would say.
Newcastle United, 1 point above Fulham and Leeds United. And Everton, we'll chuck them in. Only 2 points above Burnley. They're not doing very well in the league, Peter.
Not in the league. I think the manager is trying to keep players fit for the 4 tournaments / competitions they're in.
He was like, did you see the celebrations of the League Cup? Sod the league.
Yeah.
We won another one of those.
That's the real
What
one.
an absolute party
They
that
beat
was.
Benfica handily, dumped Spurs out of the cup.
They are.
In the last week. So, it shouldn't be. I think they just scored too early and just couldn't keep the intensity up, and just they looked abject.
Well, I just felt like West Ham now in that game played players in the right position. They played an extra man midfield.
Because in previous weeks, Tomáš Souček has just been stranded in the middle of the pitch going, is anyone out there?
They started the season playing Souček and Ward-Prowse in a midfield 2 in the Premier League in 2025. And they wouldn't deviate from it for some reason. Against Newcastle, they played 3. They played 3 midfield players that can actually run. They played Paquetá a bit deeper. They played full-backs in the right position who can actually play. And they played Callum Wilson, who can occupy centre-backs and do a bit up front, rather than Fulkrug, who's like a tanker. Yeah. And lo and behold...
You're saying that helped them win?
Yes.
All right. Okay.
100%.
Yeah.
And if they can play like that... look, I don't really know. Pete knows Newcastle much better than me. Maybe Newcastle were bad, but I just thought West Ham were much better.
It was a lot better from West Ham. And but like you said, they just there's been so much kind of chopping and changing, and Nuno doesn't seem to want to play the right players in the right position, and he doesn't seem to know his best team.
Well, he's not been there long, has he? He's not been there long.
Yeah, this time around, he's just sort of looked at, right, where do you just ask the players, where do you play? Right, you seem to be quite good full-back, shall we play you there?
That's basically what he's done. He's like, right, remind me who the fullbacks are. All right, we'll probably put you there.
Yeah,
and it's worked out very well. I mean, it was night and day, really. But the first home win since February in the league. That is what a damning sort of stat that is.
They can't play Newcastle side like this every week, though.
Can we play you every week?
I cannot impress him enough how poor Newcastle have been on the road. But this was probably top 3 worst performances from an Eddie Howe side. Like it was that bad. They were astonishingly poor.
Look, we're going to talk more on Newcastle in the mailbag tomorrow, and so we will go in more depth there. We'll also be discussing Arsenal's title credentials as well. Do subscribe to the Ramble in your podcast app so you don't miss that. But you're right, Peter. It was a very, very poor performance from Newcastle United, and they're going to have to show more in the Premier League, because if you want to stay in the Champions League, you either win it or you finish in the top 4 or 5.
Yeah.
So finish in the top 4 or 5, realistically, you know.
I mean, financially, I guess if you're kind of battling against FFP and all that, PSR, surely if you go deep in the Champions League, it's probably more valuable than a couple of places in the Premier League, possibly.
Made a few quid from Isaac, did they not?
Made a few quid from Isaac as well.
By the way, did you see, speaking of, a young Newcastle United fan was pictured on social media dressed as a rat for Halloween and he was wearing an Isak shirt. Do you like that, Peter?
I don't mind it. I think that's absolutely fine. I like the detail on the rat. I don't know why the rat's got blood.
I was going to say that.
Why's he got blood all down him?
He's like a vampire rat, maybe.
He's a vampire rat.
He's got the Isak shirt on the wrong way round so everyone can see it on the front of his chest.
Yeah.
He's absolutely defaced his Newcastle shirt, presumably because he thinks it's worthless now because Isak's left. But there is blood dripping from his fangs and all the way down his shirt.
I think rats are quite friendly individual, but I mean, don't trust them.
No.
I will. I don't like to talk about other people's decor, but good God. The room this is a sight.
It looks a bit like, I thought it was some kind of hairdressers.
Yeah.
But it's not, is it? It's a home, is
it? It's like Donald Trump's powder room. Very enjoyable.
Blimey, I think we should move on. Coming up after this, the St Albans mascot has had a bad day at the office. Gentlemen, Nottingham Forest 2, Manchester United 2. An entertaining game at the City Ground. It has ended Manchester United's run of 3 wins in a row. The United strand is back to square one in terms of getting a haircut.
Do you reckon, at what point do you reckon he wishes he'd never done this?
But I think it's gonna be a Bella Gutman style curse.
Has he got a job?
Well, this is. I guess you could probably make a bit of money out of this.
He's
nightclub
already,
appearances.
There's no way to live though, is
serving shots out your hair. I don't know.
he's already on an advert for a betting company.
Exactly. There you go.
And I'm sure the United strand has done very well out of this.
I just wondered if he's,
but at some point,
if his life has changed completely in an unexpected way because of this.
I don't know if he's married or not, but I hope he's got his wedding coming up.
Yeah, that'd be funny.
It's kind of like this might be too big. He might. I know this is a little bit of a joke now and stuff, but this might become.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
A situation that is actually weighing heavily, like a barn of hair.
Because technically, he could. I mean, in theory, United could still. They could become really good and still not win 5 games in a row.
He overreached there because to win 5 in a row is actually
not lose 5 in a row.
You're talking Klopp's Liverpool, Guardiola's Man City in their peak.
He's the
5
thing
in a row.
And
he should have gone 3.
And the actual image of it is amusing now. But is he going to go into dreadlocks? Is he going to just go for the big kind of?
He's got the option.
Colombian midfielder kind of vibe. Big hair.
Yeah, I mean, it's Valderrama at the moment, isn't it? Well, I just don't know, Peter. When they went 1-0 up through Casemiro, I thought, well, he's on for this haircut, isn't he?
They won 5 in a row. The last time they won 5 in a row was in February 2024.
Okay.
So it's more recent. It's like the Ten Hag. It's more recent.
Well, need to get Eric back.
Than we thought, maybe.
Yeah. What did you think of that moment just before the goal where, did the ball cross the line? Did it not? Sean Dyche was very unhappy.
Look, I'm not a Sean Dyche acolyte or even vague supporter, as you well know. But I think he's well within his rights to be annoyed about that because there's no clear evidence at all that the whole ball goes over the whole of the line.
You've got to make a call,
and you have. But secondly, why is that not an incident that can be checked in the lead up to a goal? It seems like we could check everything else in the lead up to a goal, but we can't check that. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, but you're generally speaking anti-technology getting involved with helping the decisions. If you bring it in there,
it
sets a precedent.
No, it doesn't though, because we have different rules for a goal, checking a goal. We have different kind of thresholds. We don't need to check. I think we can check everything in the lead up to a goal, which we appear to already be doing up to a point. It doesn't need to be checked for any. The ball being out of play doesn't need to be checked every single time. It's just what it seems to me is that VAR has been applied in the way that says, is there any reason we need to rule out this goal? And they're doing it with fouls, the potential handballs, obviously with offsides.
So this naturally has to be
the camera angle is much better than the assistant referees over the other side of the pitch and can't see it really. If he's being honest, that assistant referee, he can't see it because the goal net's in the way.
Yeah.
So to me, it feels like they can consider themselves to be pretty hard done by because I saw the footage and I don't think it doesn't look like the ball went.
It looks like the curve of the ball is maybe still on the line.
On the line, exactly.
But
why haven't we got some kind of Hawkeye for this? It can just be a binary. We don't even have to hear about it until a goal's been scored and we go, actually, it was out.
Because then I think with the goal line, everyone's quite clear on that. To me, like if the ball is in, which it perhaps was, it's absolute fine margins. And of course, I know it leads to a goal. they thought it went out. The camera angle suggests maybe the curve of the ball is just in by the skin of its leather. And I get why Dyche, he's the manager, because of course he's going to be unhappy. But the wider context to me is like, okay, I don't think it's that big a deal.
Well, because you can defend the corner and that's that.
Well, because in terms of the corner goes in, do you then, if you've got someone looking at that camera and they go, yeah, I'm like 75, 80% sure that's probably still in play. All right, well, let's see what happens with the corner. And to me, that's just chaos. I think that if you either have the technology for the whole pitch, the whole line around the pitch,
it's basically because it's a new passage of play, basically.
Yeah, so that's why I think you're unlucky, lads. It probably, but I don't think it was a shocker.
I guess the problem is that we have forensic analysis on other aspects of the game, and it feels quite antiquated that we're relying on the assistant referee over the other side of the pitch, who clearly, like I say, if he's being honest, he just doesn't know. Well,
Dyche says he's guessed, but again, the guess is that the ball's gone out. Well, I'd say at least 75, 80% of the ball is out. My guess would be, again, the curve of the ball kind of keeping it in. Bloody hell, It's not bad. I appreciate the guess is either in or out, but
they've set a precedent because they've said and they've marketed all this stuff as like, it's going to be the end of controversial decisions and stuff, and it just isn't, is it?
We'll find new controversy. Controversy.
Well, Forest themselves, they conceded from 2 set pieces, although to say...
Everyone's doing that these days, though.
Very in vogue, isn't it?
Dallow's volley was a beauty.
Lovely one.
That's one of the most pleasing goals of the weekend.
It's really good. And it's almost like it made it, when I watched it, it felt like it would have been impossible to do that.
Yeah.
Because it's so quick, goes through so many players.
Yeah.
You think you'll be so fortunate. I'm not taking anything away from him, but you've got to be so fortunate for that not to take a nick off someone.
Yes.
It's a really good goal.
No, the reactions were great. The only other goal I'd say reaction-wise on the weekend was as impressive was Mateta's header.
Yeah.
The way you straight away and loops it in. But
great neck muscles on that one.
Oh, yeah, beauty. But yeah, Sean Dyche was a bit unhappy. But look, for him, I think getting a 2-2 draw at home to this Manchester United, resurgent Manchester United, to put a stop to that winning run, I don't think it's a terrible result at all. No. And I think Forest fans still, I know that they're still 19th, they're 4 points from safety. I still think that it's slowly going in the right direction.
Yeah. I understand what you mean. I think they've also going to benefit, aren't they, United, from not having any kind of other European competition or anything. So if they can keep building slowly but surely, and almost ghost, as much as Man United can ghost their way anywhere because of the attention they get, but if they can ghost their way up to a decent top half finish, you'd have to treat that as a platform.
Yeah.
But I do think there's, look, Liverpool was a game of really fine margins, right? And Liverpool were in a pretty bad place at the time.
And had chances, though, as well.
They had loads of chances. The Brighton game is fair enough, although they've massaged the scoreline there by scoring, in the last kick, really, to make it look a bit more comprehensive. And then I think Amarim's probably within his rights to say, look, he's pleased because on another day, we go a goal up. We get pecked back 2 quick goals that Forest scored. They're at home. They go ahead. On another day, we might have rolled over and lost this, and we didn't. And he's taken the positives from that. That's cool. The Tottenham game next is mad. That's gonna be like the absolute who is the most incompetent team.
Well, but you have to say with Amarim, when he does say what you just said and said, we'd have lost that match and by several goals he added to that. He is correct. Again, you saw the character of the side against Liverpool rode their luck a little bit. I think that he said we now know how to overcome difficult moments, and they're showing that. They are.
I think Saturday by 3 p.m. we're going to have Man United win there, because I think
you think Man United will beat Spurs?
They look so much better than Spurs, and especially at home where they can't seem to win.
Get revenge for that Europa League final defeat, eh?
Yeah,
gentlemen. I want to talk about the FA Cup first round, if I may.
Okay.
Some great moments.
There were some great moments of this. It was the FA Cup first round this weekend just gone. St Albans lost 6-0 away to Burton. Beautiful town, St Albans, very historic.
It's where I will learn to drive.
Is it really?
Is it really?
Blimey. There's one of the oldest pubs in Britain. I know there's a few pubs that claim
Everyone
this.
claim it, don't they?
But I think it's an incredibly old pub in St Albans.
Just say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you have to give it. That's their claim. I think they may even claim to be the oldest, perhaps. I don't know.
As I always say, there's a toilet next to the station that has mouths you can wee in. So
okay.
Oh, that's nice to know.
Yeah.
Are they
They're just like decorative.
Are they
kind
members of
like
staff?
Rolling Stones, sort of mouths, big pink mouths that you wee in.
Oh yeah, you've sent
like
a picture of that before.
Delicious.
So apparently the three pubs that claim to be the oldest in the UK: the Bingley Arms in Bardsley, West Yorkshire, which since his claims to have dated back to 953. The Old Fighting Cocks in St Albans, and the Old Trip to Jerusalem in Nottingham, which I went to a few weeks ago. All claim to have it as the oldest.
How about
and the oldest one in London is the Old Cheshire Cheese, isn't
There's
it?
one in Drimmen near Glasgow. I forget the name of it. I've been there as well. Used to be one of Billy Connolly's old haunts. I think that again. Maybe that's in Scotland, perhaps not Britain.
Yeah.
Anyway, St Albans though they love what you do with preserving the pubs and the cathedral, but on the football pitch you need to improve. Beaten by Burton 6-0. St Albans mascot had an even worse day at the office. He was ejected from the stadium after appearing drunk and falling over the advertising hoardings.
Yeah.
So you thought this was a wrestling style work?
I thought it was a work
from the black capped lion.
Yeah, he's a Roman lion apparently.
Yeah.
He was launched in 2014. And
been drinking ever since.
And he's been drinking ever since.
Stumbled in 2025.
Well, when it got launched, I read a press release and it said, if you want the Roman lion and represent St Albans to come to a child's birthday party, just let us know.
We'll meet you in the old pub.
We'll meet you in the old pub, yeah. But he, I thought it was possibly he was being a bit silly, but then the more I watch it, the more I'm a believer.
Presumably he's being belligerent, so that's why I kicked him out.
Was he actually being kicked out?
I think does he not get asked to leave at one point? And that's the moment where you kind of go, all right, silliness is over now. You better get out. And he can't just. The silliness doesn't seem to be.
Do you bring your own? Do you bring your own mascots to away games? Is that a thing that happens in the Premier League? I don't think that.
Not
you just have your own.
Yeah, no, I don't think it happens in the Premier League, but I think maybe lower league, maybe for the FA Cup and so on.
You want to go out for a nice. Why can't they have a nice day out?
Well, I just don't think a non-member of a football club should have the free rein to dance around an away section. I just think that's a weird thing. It's a weird precedent to set, personally.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you there, Peter.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's the best mascot moment since Deontay Wilder knocked that bloke out in the costume, isn't it? Have you ever had that story?
Absolutely.
The Spanish chat show. They brought a mascot on, their TV show mascot.
Right.
And Deontay Wilder was promoting his fight against Tyson Fury.
Just wasn't having it.
2018. Well, they egged him on to punch the mascot.
Yeah.
And I think Wilder momentarily forgot there was a man in it.
Yeah.
And just absolutely drilled him.
You'd at least think that there would be enough kind of like comfort between fist and face to not die, but also crucially, I think you can't really see where the throat is.
Yeah, exactly.
You just absolutely haymaking a punch.
Yeah.
Did he knock him out?
Yeah, he said. I sincerely apologise to the brave man that was injured. I have the utmost respect for him, his participation, his willingness, and his courage.
I'd have liked it if he did a Tyson Fury and just got straight back up. Be like, oh my giddy aunt.
Yeah.
Was it Tyson himself?
He also invited him to his fight. I'm not sure if the guy went.
Okay, probably not.
More
You're the last bloke I want to see.
PTSD.
Yeah, exactly. Now, there was a big Essex derby, Peter. Your part of the world. Chelmsford City beat Braintree Town 4-1. Braintree's Aidan Francis Clark was sent off for what could only be described as a proper Derby Day challenge.
Yeah.
It's not even a challenge.
A full-blooded kick as hard as he could.
Off the ball.
Out of frustration after a professional foul. Off the ball. That, to be fair, he does whiff. But if he connected, that would have been a possible broken leg.
He also was being fouled for a good 5 seconds beforehand.
Yeah, the
referee could have blown up and stopped it.
Yeah.
And then he kind of quite optimistically, I would say, Aidan Francis Clark walks off away from the melee that happens afterwards just to go get the ball to restart the game. You won't be restarting the game.
You will not be restarting the game. Yeah.
Thanks for getting the ball, but off you go.
Yeah.
It wasn't even. It was one of those infringements that's it's not even a tackle. It's not even a tackle. It's no more a tackle than a stamp is a tackle.
Yeah.
It was pure frustration.
In one of the Essex Veterans Leagues, I was part of a football match where a man tried to enter me with his digits like a bowling ball.
When was this?
We're 7-2 up.
When was this at the weekend?
Yeah, we're 7-2 up.
What, you're playing, are you? 7-2 up?
Yeah, 7-2 up.
You played the whole game?
No, half of it.
What was the score when you came on? 7-0?
I think it might be 2 them actually.
So there we go.
The difference
Game
maker.
changer.
But I do the thing when someone's taking a corner, I just sit on the keeper and try and just knock the
Stop scratching yourself.
Well, that's where he entered me.
But you're
Oh, he
your
was-
side.
A
Oh,
man,
he was trying to
a
tickle
bigger
you.
part. He called me a naughty word.
What did he say?
Then tried to knee me in the back
Can you, what
of,
is
the,
it,
of the leg.
What does the
and
naughty
then,
word begin with?
C?
C?
Yeah, I think it was a C.
Oh.
And then he was grabbing hold of my midriff into my ribs and jamming his fingers as hard as he could into my ribs. So
There's
the
no need for
referee,
that.
because the referee can't really see when someone's jabbing someone in the ribs.
I thought you were going
Yeah,
to
I
say you
thought-
put two fingers up your bum.
Yeah, you said.
Well, he tried. Every entry point was.
Did he get it in your mouth?
He didn't get one in my mouth. No.
Bloody hell.
But you won
You
7-2.
once-
Did you get a goal?
But it really hurt.
Did you get a goal?
No.
A very famous man once tried to do this to you in Essex before, but you turned him down.
Right.
No, that was at the Groucho.
That was at.
Oh, but it
it was
okay.
at Century Club actually. So.
Sorry.
Century Club.
No,
Sorry.
but was he not saying we can do this in Essex?
Essex,
He's doing it in
yeah.
Essex.
Essex is
He's in
available
Essex.
for you as a destination for
Yes.
this.
Exactly.
It wasn't the same
So,
man, I assume.
But it really hurt, and it hurt my feelings.
What's
as
the
well.
bloke he's playing football against on a Sunday? Michael
Barrymore.
No, it wasn't. The 70-year-old Michael Barrymore. That would be something of a story, wouldn't it?
Playing my ribs like a piano.
What happened then? The corner came in and...
Kind of came in, nothing happened, but they did, and then the referee blew up. But I was like, it's just a bit strong to be,
Yeah.
hurting me in that way.
I hate that.
What position were you
Hurting
playing?
me.
He didn't
Left
know.
back.
On the keeper.
On the keeper.
Right on the-
No. Got to do your bits, haven't you?
Yeah, okay. Well, back to the FA Cup first round. Perhaps the most eye-catching result of the round was Carlisle coming back from 2-0 down to beat Reading 3-2, bearing in mind that Reading are in League One and Carlisle are, albeit flying high, but they're still in the National League.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm on
They won
record.
3-2 in extra time.
I like Reading.
I mean, it's been a bad week for the Royals, hasn't it? Yeah,
Good.
So
Nice.
Yeah. I think that Reading are a disgrace, as you know. And
did this change your opinion?
well, I couldn't get over the fact that Reading are playing a game at home at the great historic Select Car Leasing Stadium.
Come on.
Against a non-league team, right? Who brought their own sizable travelling away support.
Yes.
And 3,900 people turned up. It was like an empty stadium in the FA Cup.
Was this the sales aren't on, are they?
It's the romance of the
If,
cup.
if there's something happening at Reading, I don't know, but I know they've been through the mill and they've had a really difficult time.
Yeah.
But could you support your team a bit more? Are they boycotting this game or what? What's going on?
And the advertising hoardings around the side were basically all the way through the match were saying, follow us on WhatsApp, follow us on WhatsApp. So maybe all of the crowd, maybe all of the fans are just following them on WhatsApp rather than watching them in the stadium.
Well, there we are. So we can't wait for round 2 of the FA Cup. Of course, now before we go, one final result I would like to mention is that Portland Timbers beat San Diego in the second of their best of 3 playoff tie.
This is so confusing.
Then it's off to the Liberty Zone
So best of
of the
3.
Bald Eagle Geico Insurance Stadium.
And I'll tell you what, they were 2-1 down, and it was in like the 97th, 98th minute. They got that equaliser.
Yeah.
Fizzer and his boys are still alive.
It's enough to cautiously sip a light beer, isn't
They're
it?
still fighting for this cup.
The
It's 1-1. The Timbers will now play San Diego next weekend in a series decider. Oof,
the great bit about football is its simplicity, isn't it?
it really is.
Why are they applying so much weird detail onto this?
We don't have time to answer that, but we do have the mailbag tomorrow where we will answer some very, very difficult questions.